Well, hello there. I'm George Clay with this Marketing Direct podcast today. It's about promises we make with our customers, promises that cut through the clutter, go to the heart of what building long-term relationships with our customers is all about. So let me tell you about the first real honest-to-goodness promise keeper in retail trade history, a fascinating story. His name is John Wanamaker. Now, maybe you already know something about him from his famous quote about wasting money on advertising. He said, "Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. Trouble is, I don't know which half." Wanamaker's story begins way before he got into advertising. We're talking way back in the 1850s, horse and buggy days. Now, things were very much different back then if you were a customer. Shopping really was not pleasant. In fact, if you were a customer, you were in for some tough sledding. A store owner or a clerk could charge you whatever price he thought you were willing to pay. There were no price tags. Everything was based on haggling. You and the clerk or the store owner haggling over prices. Browsing, well, that was just not permitted. You had to buy something or face getting kicked out of the store. Now, as you can imagine, all this made shoppers very distrustful about getting a good deal. Now, added to that, merchants refused any attempts at refunds or exchanges, no matter how shoddy the merchandise. But things changed when John Wanamaker decided to take a stand against these business practices, which he called corrupt. He did something unheard of at the time. He insisted on fair pricing both before and after the sale. No haggling ever is how Wanamaker advertised. He also promised that if you weren't happy, you could return your purchase. Now, when people discovered that his promises were true, guess what happened? His business boomed. By 1871, his store was earning more than $2 million a year and was the largest men's retailer in the country. But that was just the beginning. By 1881, his flagship store in Philadelphia had almost 3 acres of selling space on one floor. Wanamaker's became the largest, most prosperous retail establishment in the world. He would run big full-page ads in newspapers, and these ads had 3 simple themes. They were dedicated to keeping things simple, keeping it true, and focusing on the customer, putting the customer first. Wanamaker wrote much of the ads himself, filling them with conversational language that discussed the bargains of the day, not just listing prices and products, which was common at the time, but helping shoppers truly get to know products and their uses. He even would describe when a certain product might not be right for someone. It's not just a way to sell something. Wanamaker understood the value of using marketing and advertising as a relationship building process, a way to connect with his customers. He built a connection with his customers really by showing that he understood their world, and that to me is where Wanamaker really shined. He connected with his customers, keeping it true, keeping it simple, and keeping it focused on the customer. Simple, straightforward conversations with our customers, something I think matters every bit as much today as when Wanamaker was building his retail empire. And I hope this podcast today makes clear how important that is now more than ever.